Welcome back to the channel, Modeling Maestro here. It is time to continue work on the Hasegawa F-8E in 1/48 scale. This kit is over 20 years old, and one of the areas modelers often choose to upgrade is the wheel well. One of the more unique aspects of the F-8 is the configuration of its main wheel well. Unlike many aircraft, where the main gear retracts cleanly into the wings or fuselage, the F-8's main landing gear pivots and tucks into relatively shallow wells in the lower fuselage. This design was influenced by the aircraft's variable incidence wing and compact fuselage layout, which limited internal space. As a result, the wheel wells have a distinctive open look, filled with exposed structure, hydraulic lines, and wiring. This makes this area of the aircraft a great place for modelers to add detail. While I'm not opposed to using aftermarket parts, I think modelers should continue sharpening their scratch building skills and attempt this kind of super detailing work on their own. Otherwise, what's the point of the hobby? Is it to just spend money? So, with the help of a few good reference books, I started carving away the kit details. A clipper is used to remove large chunks of plastic. There is some piping molded in here, but it doesn't look especially convincing. I decided to remove some of the more prominent details. These Tamiya clippers work really well for this kind of job. After that, I cut pieces of styrene rod and shaped them with both pliers and my fingers to get just the right curves for the cables, lines, and piping. I use evergreen plastic to recreate boxes and panels. It's a good idea to have different sizes of round plastic stock for just this kind of work. Stretch sprue is also used to recreate the many thin wires found throughout these wheel wells. Just a reminder, if you're enjoying this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Strips of Tamiya tape are then used to create fasteners around the piping and wiring. Now that many of the fuselage subassemblies are mostly complete, it's time to install them and close up the fuselage halves. Dry fitting, which is testing the fit of parts without glue, is such an important step in model building. Once everything was aligned, I was ready to glue the fuselage halves together. For this work, I like to use Tamiya Extra Thin Cement. After the fuselage had dried, I drilled holes using my new favorite cordless rotary tool from Crusader. From there, I used an X-Acto blade to carve away the material between the holes. Just a reminder, if you're enjoying this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. I then built up a few pieces of styrene sheet to create a shelf that would fit into the opening. Once the dimensions were adjusted, I removed the shelf and added a bunch of details. On the real aircraft, this area houses a 1.3-gallon oxygen bottle, which you can see here in the center. Once everything was glued and fully dried, I slid the shelf back into place. The F-8 has a catapult attachment point located at the center of the underside of the aircraft. To recreate this, I drilled out several holes and once again used the X-Acto blade to carve away the plastic. I cut triangular pieces to form the sides of the recess. After a lot of dry fitting and trimming, I was finally able to complete the shape of this area. After that, it was time to rescribe the panel lines on the underside of the aircraft. The panel lines here are pretty rough to begin with, but they become even worse once the center seam is filled. I decided to fill most of the panel lines with CA glue, let them dry, sand the area smooth, and then just start from scratch. Admittedly, I don't have a ton of experience rescribing panel lines, but I know I need to keep practicing if I do want to improve. This clear scribing guide tape has been a huge help during this process, and you can find a link to it in the description below. I then carved out the openings for the scoops that flank the vertical stabilizer. Aftermarket resin replacements are available for these, but I decided to carve them out myself. I began by twisting 3 small holes into the surface using an X-Acto blade. A small drill bit was then used to deepen the openings before I returned to the blade to remove the material between them. Finally, I cleaned everything up using the rotary tool from Katurk. Again, you'll find a link to this tool in the description below. Once I dry fitted the wing assembly to the fuselage, I noticed a slight gap on the left side of the seam. The seam itself should be there, but the gap was just too wide. I decided to fill this area with a small piece of evergreen plastic. Just a reminder, if you're enjoying this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Once it was trimmed and blended with CA glue, I was able to sand the area down and create a much straighter seam. I also found the attachment holes for the ventral fins to be too large and quite noticeable. Instead of filling them after the fins were attached, I filled them first using round plastic rod. Later, I cut off the attachment pins and glued the full length of the fins directly to the fuselage, which helped ensure proper alignment. Since I wouldn't be adding any armament to this model, I searched through my spare parts box for missile racks that looked better than the kit parts. I ended up using 4 from a few Harrier kits and removed their original attachment points. Finally, the model is ready for a coat of primer. Well, that does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this content, please do leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.